Hey everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thank you all so much for joining me today for Flosstube number 23. I don't have a ton to talk about. I haven't had a lot of time this week, but I do have some things to show you and I have plans. So, we'll get into that. But first, I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thanks so much for joining me on my Flosstube embroidery and crafting adventures. I want to welcome back everyone who's been hanging out with me the past, however many months. It's great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me, you can find me on Instagram at Dr._Christy, and I'll put that right here. This is a channel about embroidery and other textile crafts and baking and history and the history of those things. So if that is something that is interesting to you and you'd like to hang out with me, then hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you, stick around. I always post videos on Fridays. These are my Flosstube videos, and I talk about my stitching. And I usually post a video on Tuesday, but this week I did not post one. It has been an incredibly busy week. In fact, I am coming to you like mid-work. I'm taking a little break to film this video and edit it real quick, and then I'm going to eat something. It's around 8 o'clock, and then I'm going to get back to work because my promotion and tenure portfolio is due today, and so I'm doing the finishing touches on that, and I'll probably be working on that all night. Yeah, and then yesterday I gave a presentation yesterday morning at a conference on the history of domestic violence, and I wore this dress, and everyone really loved this dress on Instagram, and so I thought I'd wear it for you guys too, so you could check out the awesomeness of this dress. What I've realized is that a lot of my clothing is really good for teaching in person, but it's not that great for teaching on video because you only see from here up. So you have to have something interesting happening here. So I bought some new shirts that will be good for my Zoom lifestyle. But I thought this is pretty epic because this has awesome stuff up top, and the skirt of this dress is pretty amazing as well. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. So I also gave a presentation yesterday on the history of domestic violence, and so I had to write that up this week. And the classes started this week, so it was just really, really, really stressful. And we're still dealing with the fallout from the insurrection and the possible coup attempt in DC, in Washington, DC at the moment. So there's a lot of stressful things happening. There's a lot going on. So I didn't get a ton of stitching done. I did get some stitching done, so I'll show you that. I don't have any haul. That's not true. I do have a haul, but that goes into my plans. And I have a finished object that I kept forgetting to show you, so I'll show you that. And then I have plans. And then I have to get back to work. So I'll show you my finished object first. I finished my Scandinavian deer needle felting kit from thewoolery.com. I'll put a link to that down below. I won't post a picture of it because here it is, my friends. It is a Scandinavian deer. So I'm eventually going to turn this into a pillowcase for a pillow that sits on my guest bed right there. And I'm really pleased with it. I could, in the directions it says that I could do some like wet felting, but I don't think I'm going to do that. That feels like more work than I'm willing to do at this point. But what I am willing to do is make this into a pillow. So I'm probably going to, the back of it, I don't know, it doesn't feel very sturdy to me. And so I think what I might do is basically applique it onto a pillowcase. Onto a fabric. I'm not quite sure what kind of fabric I'm going to use. I do have some great linen here, some sort of great natural linen, which I think would look nice with it. I also have, I was also thinking this cotton would look really cute with it too. So I kind of have to figure out what I want to do, but that is another option. So that is a thing that I finished. That's an FO, my friends. I have an FO, which is really exciting. I worked on two things. So in my normal life, I stitch probably 2 to 3 hours a night every night, sometimes longer, depending on how into a project I'm getting. But I usually work until about 8 o'clock, 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and then I stitch from about 8 until about 11 or 12. So I get a lot of stitching in every week. This week, I got in an hour and a half of stitching with my mom last Sunday, and I got in like 2 hours of stitching last night before I started falling asleep. So I'm going to show you those things that I've been working on, and that's all I have. So on Sunday, I was stitching with my mom and I worked on my temperature library. So there's that. I will put a picture of what this pattern looks like here. I've been really excited about how many of you have been stitching this. You've been tagging me and using the hashtag. The hashtag, if you want to do a stitch along with us for the temperature, any temperature pattern, is Stitch the Temp Sal. I'll put that right here. It's kind of being hosted by Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. I'll put a link to her channel down below. She is stitching Stitchin' Mommy's temperature tree, but there are all sorts of different temperature patterns. And so I created a freehand embroidery temperature library, which is basically a bookshelf, and a cross stitch pattern. So I'll put a link to that down below on, it's in my Etsy shop. I am blown away by the support of this pattern. I gotta be honest with you. I've sold like 130 copies of this, which means that my local library at the end of the month is getting a pretty nice check from me. So this is, I don't know, it's kind of blowing me away. And I'll talk about this in plans too, but if you see, we've had a very, and this is from last Sunday, I only work on this on Sundays, and we've had a very tumultuous relationship with the temperature here in Mississippi. And the same is going to happen next week. That's just how Mississippi is. It just kind of goes up and down, up and down. We go from 70 to 30 in a day or two. So not surprising. So I worked on that with my mom. And then last night I decided to take out my Jane Austen floral bust, which I'm really liking. And I honestly have no idea how this is going to turn out, but just kind of doing these repeating patterns is really soothing. And it was kind of amazing. I've been really stressed out. The portfolio that I'm putting together right now determines whether I stay employed at my university. And I don't expect that there will be a problem, but you never know. And so I want to make sure that I'm putting in the most, the best thing I can put in. So that has been very stressful. And then yesterday with the presentation was an international presentation it was virtual, obviously. It was on Zoom, but it was taking place in Finland, which means that I was presenting at 8 a.m. and which meant that I had to get up and walk the dog and get ready and, finalize my paper and stuff like that. And so I was up at 4:30 yesterday, and yesterday was just a really long day. And so at 8 o'clock, I was working all day because after I finished my presentation, I still had to do work on my portfolio. And then I'm also teaching, right? My semester started. So I had to work on that as well. And by 8 o'clock, I'm like, I have now been working since 5:30. No, I guess I was working since 6:30. I started working at 6:30. And I think, I'm tired now. I'm tired of working. And so I sat down and I started stitching, and immediately it was like the air had just left my body. It was amazing. Man, stitching is so good for my mental health. I can't imagine what I'd be like if it weren't for stitching. And those of you who are crafters, an artist, you totally I know you understand how this works. It was like an immediate mental reaction to getting a needle into this fabric. And I think, I'll talk about this in plans, but tomorrow I'm taking a moment because I'm probably going to be working until at least midnight tonight getting this portfolio done. And tomorrow I'm not working. I'm not working. I'm just doing crafting. I'm not cleaning anything. I'm just crafting all day. So anyway, but those are the only two things that I've been working on this week. Just haven't had time. But I'm glad I got those two things done so I can show you those. So I guess I want to talk about plans and haul together because I just have a really small haul. I wouldn't even call it a haul. It's so small. I wouldn't call it a haul. So I do have plans, and I really have been wanting to do some sewing. Yeah, I've been really inspired to do a bunch of sewing. And I have this linen here. This stripy linen is going to be dish towels. So I think this makes 4 dish towels. So I'm going to make some dish towels. This linen's interesting because it's only that wide. And so you basically just cut it into dish towels, which is kind of nice. It's made for dish towels. So I got that. And then this fabric here is you saw me when I got this. It's like a gauzy linen. And I want to, here we go, you can see. And I want to turn this into scarves that I can then embroider on them. So I want to make the scarves tomorrow. That way I can start working on the embroideries for them. And then I also want to I want to make project bags. And in particular, I want to make a project bag for my temperature library. And I have this book fabric, and I'm going to make a book fabric, what's it called? I can't think. Project bag, a book fabric project bag. And I had mentioned last week that I was going to do a giveaway. Well, no, I don't remember when I mentioned it. I'm planning on doing a giveaway as kind of a thank you for your support of my temperature library. Overwhelming support for my temperature library. I am overwhelmed by the support for my temperature library. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a project bag for my temperature library out of this fabric and some interior fabric. I haven't decided yet, but I want to make one of you a project bag also. And so my project bags look like this. So they're vinyl fronted project bags. They have a zipper kind of not quite on the top, and they have a little vinyl pocket on the inside. And so I'm going to make myself one. I'm going to make one of you one. So if you want to, you do not have to have purchased the pattern to get this. It's inspired by that, but you don't have to have purchased the pattern to like be a part of this. But if you're interested in getting a project bag made by me, so it'll be like not perfect, it'll be wonky, but it will be made with love. Put books down below. Use the word books down below, and you have to be 18. Don't say giveaway or free or whatever, because I don't want trolls to get it. I want like you all to get it. And so I will pick a winner using the random comment picker next Friday and next Friday's Flosstube. So you basically have until, well, you have until like noon next Friday to comment. So it'll be book, no S. So tell me your favorite book. Tell me where your favorite reading book nook is. Your favorite bookstore. I'm going to be looking for book, no S, BOOK. Yeah, so that's kind of my thank you. You're going to get an awesome project bag made out of this book. And it has like gold on it. I love it. And the interior, I'm not sure what the interior is going to be. I don't know. I have a lot of interesting fabric that I've been getting lately that could end up in the middle of this book. So, I mean, of this book project bag. So I don't know what's going to be on the inside of this. So you're just going to have to be surprised. But it will have a vinyl front and a zipper, and it'll be hopefully very nice. That's the plan. But I would like to make some project bags. That's another one of my goals. I also have stitching to do. I have the peppermint purple stitch along that I haven't started yet. We're now in week 2. I haven't started it yet. I think it's okay. I don't think it's I don't think it will be difficult for me to catch up. And I want to do this, I think, on black Aida. I have black Aida. I think I want to use black Aida. We'll see if I like it. And I have like fluorescent silk that I think I'm going to use. I had mentioned using other kinds of other things. I don't know. We'll see. You'll see what I'm going to use next week. But this recommends all different colors. I'm not going to do all different colors. I'm going to do the square, and I'm going to do an outside, but I'm not going to do all the different colors. Just one color, because I don't want to have to think about it. If you watch Tony from the Stubborn Stitcher, used to be Someone's Crazy Aunt, she's doing this. She's the one who got me hooked on this, and she's doing it in all different colors, and it looks lovely. Like each section has different colors. It looks really good. I'm not going to do that. She is way more ambitious than I am. She's retired, so she can do that. So I'm definitely going to do this. That's another one of my plans. And then my final plan, it's a new start and a plan. Another new start and a plan is next week, Penguin and Fish evening craft along is stitching these 2 completely adorable sewing machine patterns. This is the Embroidery of the Month pattern for Penguin and Fish for January. I'll put a link down below. It is still available. Oh my God. I literally want to stitch this on all of my clothing. So I'm going to. Well, not all my clothing. I have this t-shirt that looks like it has a stain on it. that's disappointing. Well, if I look at it more closely and it has a stain on it, I won't use this, but I think that I'm going to stitch this sewing machine, one of those sewing machines, on this t-shirt or a t-shirt like it, because that I just have that is boring, that I never wear because it's boring. I also have a yellow and white horizontal striped one that it would look really cute on too. Oh, it would look really cute on that too. So anyway, I'm going to have a sewing machine on a piece of my clothing next Friday because that is adorable and it makes me really, really happy. And it may end up being on multiple pieces of clothing because it's adorable. Look at this sewing machine. I probably won't do the love or the heart, but I love it. And this sewing machine is really fun because that is the sewing machine that she uses in her videos, that Alyssa Thomas uses in her videos. I love it. I love it so much. So I'll put a link to this down below. I'll put a link. Well, the peppermint purple Sal stitch along you can find on Facebook. There's a Facebook group. This is on her website, the Penguin and Fish website. So I'm going to do that. I do think I'm going to start, well, I'm going to do this on Sunday with my mom and do this week. So keep up with that. I do want to get more done on this because this is kind of trucking along. Yeah, I'm really trucking along. I kind of want to work on Hildegard at some point because next week my life is back to normal and it's still busy, but at least it's not like completely hectic. But I also want to work on my expansion pack, my knick-knack expansion pack for this pattern, for both the hand embroidery and also the cross stitch versions of it. So I have ideas for that. But if there's anything that you would like to see in that pattern pack, let me know. Like, think of like tiny little things that I can put on here that you can put on shelves. And I have some ideas already, but yeah, give me some ideas of things that you want. Holiday themed things. Just like, what do you have on your bookshelf? Like, what kind of knickknacks do you have around your house? I would love to know. And maybe they'll turn into a cross stitch, tiny little cross stitch piece or a tiny little embroidery piece. So that is what I'm working on as well. And that's a lot. So, but I don't have to get a lot of it done. If I just get a couple stitches and things, you know, that's good. And wow. Yeah, I was really surprised last night when I sat down and did some stitching, how quickly how good it was for me. That's it from me. Oh yeah. And the haul was, buying this pattern. that was the haul that I got. Oh, one more thing. This is not stitchy related at all, but I bought something before Christmas that has changed my life. And it is this mug warmer. I will put a link to this mug warmer down below. This mug warmer sits on my desk and you put your mug, there's a heating element. It's like a hot plate. There's a heating element right there. It sits on my desk. You put your mug on it. There's a little button here. So it's like that when you put your mug on it, it presses the button. Okay. And it turns it on. So you can see it turns it on. And it keeps your coffee or tea at 55 degrees Celsius or 130 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, in case you're wondering, the perfect temperature for a hot beverage. It would keep your hot cocoa that temperature too, your hot toddy, like whatever you're drinking, at like the perfect temperature. I have been telling everyone about this. All my colleagues have bought them. I got one for Rich. It is like the most amazing thing I've ever had. It reheats my drinks to like the perfect temperature. Now it is a hot plate. So if you have like little kids, if you have pets who will like mess around with it, it will probably burn them and hurt. You don't want to touch it. But if you're like me and your dog is tiny and doesn't jump up on your desk, I cannot recommend this enough. I use it every day, multiple times a day for coffee and tea. So that I wanted to just, I didn't have a haul, so I wanted to talk about that amazing, amazing thing. So I think that's it from me. I do want to say that I am closely watching the situation in Washington, D.C. Biden's inauguration is coming up this week, and And so, you know, it's very nerve-wracking here. My last video was not popular with everyone, which is what I was expecting, but you know, that's too bad because this is my house and I get to talk about what I want to talk about. I did get a couple kind of nasty comments, but they weren't people that I knew. They weren't like any of you guys, so I wasn't so worried about it. And you know, I'm very confident in the information that I have and in the perspective that I have on what's happening in the modern, you know, in modern politics. I'm in a history and political science department, like not so concerned. I know what's going on. I have pretty extensive news outlets that I follow. So yeah, I'm not offended. So if you guys saw nasty comments, don't worry. It didn't hurt my feelings at all. I teach at a university with anonymous student evaluations. I can handle like anonymous nasty comments. Like it doesn't, the level that it got to doesn't bother me. I think at some point it would probably bother me if they got to a certain level, but it was not, I was not even fazed. So, if you saw those and were upset for me, don't worry about it. I wasn't upset. Because, you know, I don't know who these people are. They weren't people who I have spoken to before. They weren't people who followed my channel. So it's not like I wasn't worried. So I wanted to say that as well, but I am paying attention to it and I'm hoping there's no more violence because I would really like to have a not violent transition of power any more than has already happened. And I would like accountability for those who perpetrated the violence 2 weeks ago, because yeah, I think accountability is really, really critical to moving forward in the United States. That's my opinion on that. Anyway, next week you'll see more stuff. I'm going to grab a slice of pizza, Rich Made Pizza, and I'm going to edit this and upload it and get back to work and change back into my t-shirt that I was wearing before I decided to film. But I mean, this is a pretty epic dress. This is like my new conference dress anyway. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please take care of yourselves and stay safe and make good decisions and happy stitching. And I hope you all have a good one. Bye.